And we are now ready to get into the first map between these two players, as we're now seconds away from actually loading into this.
That's right, and as you can see there from France, we have Evil Genius's Stephano, and we have Millennium ForGG from South Korea. And here we have it, guys, on the map Ohana, and in the top left-hand corner, we have our Red Terran player from Millennium. It is ForGG. Got some fans out there, but he is going up against very best foreigners in the world. Down here in the bottom right-hand corner, our blue Zerg player from Evil Geniuses, Stephano.
Stephano, the best non-Korean in StarCraft 2, has had a great tournament here, 3-0 in his initial group stage, then 2-1 in the second group stage, falling against Liquid's Tasia, and then we saw him 2-0 against Nighten just earlier on today. Compared to his opponent though, ForGG has actually been 2-1ing his way through the tournament with first group stage 2-1, second group stage 2-1, and then he did beat the Italian player Alternative Attacks Cloud 2-1 in the round of 16 as well.
2-1's going for him, but we saw Stephano had a great performance against Tasia. Those were very, very good games as well. Certainly those guys were putting it all out there, even though it was just for seeding at that point. But we'll see what ForGG can do in return, making a boast at the beginning that he is the better player, as we can see already queuing up a good number of SCVs, so planning for that command center first.
ForGG did beat Moon earlier on yesterday as well, 2-1 in the second group stages. He did lose actually versus Targa in the initial group stages, but we saw how good Targa was looking as he managed to beat Lucifron earlier on today. We're going into this map, Ohana, a two-player map, a very dangerous map for a Zerg player to be playing on. Not just because of the long-term setting up expansions on the left and right-hand side flank, but the amount of aggressive options available through what basically ForGG can do here. Even though going command center first, this can actually still easily turn into some form of aggression.
And we've already mentioned that ForGG is a hyper-aggressive player at almost all times, so that could certainly fit into his play style. Drops down the barracks now inside of his base. Stephano, of course, going for a pretty predictable hatch in a pool. He's bypassed gas for the time being. We've seen him switch between going after builds with speed. Of course, he knows ForGG pretty well, so we'll see if he wants to get speed and try and deflect any sort of early aggression, or if he's going to power ahead with just a 4-queen build. And
pretty much with Stephano making it into the quarterfinals already, he's pretty much guaranteed his position in DreamHack Winter Finals. I mean, he actually got to the semi-final of the last DreamHack tournament where we saw him fall short of the mark against Mouse Sports Manor, losing 0-2. But through getting into the semi-finals, he banked up a lot of points here. ForGG, without any DreamHack experience before, without playing in any DreamHack tournament, is going into this fresh and absolutely gunning towards that later spot.
That's right, but he's already gained himself 12 points. If he wins this, not only does he have a payout of 20,000 Swedish krona, but he'll also receive 20 points with a chance to play for an automatic seed at DreamHack Winter. So Stephano now dropping down a gas at his natural. We'll see what he transitions to momentarily. Double gas, actually. We saw this being done quite a few times. Get yourself back up, catching up into Zergling speed and later tech.
Stephano is a player that likes to keep Terran players honest as well, is not afraid to all in at any corner. We do see a third barracks coming down though for ForGG before adding on the refineries, and now he actually is going to add those refineries, but by going for 3 barracks like this, he's actually going to be playing quite a mobile force. He's going to be playing a mobile game, quite active on the map through taking the Zelnaga towers, through doing everything else, and we actually do see ForGG without any scouting information yet, just banking on Stephano, not doing anything crazy, but oh, what do we see in the main base here?
Oh, it's a Roach Warren already popping up, and you mentioned before, Stephano likes to keep people honest, and a heavy Roach play at the very beginning is certainly a good way to do just that. ForGG, of course, is going to have a lot of units down and already a tech lab down, so he should be able to switch into Marauders quite fast, but as we've seen, he has done no scouting whatsoever. He has no idea what's coming from his opponent.
And to be honest, the opening that ForGG's gone for is not that bad against what Stephano could be aiming for. Stephano could, with speed on the way as well, throw down a Baneling Nest to combine with Roaches for Roach Baneling all-in off 2 bases. Or not really an all-in, I mean, because you can always drone behind it and catch back up depending on how much damage you actually do. But speed is actually quite a long way away from actually finishing. But with Roaches now starting to make their way out, 5 on the way, and there is the drones in the production tab, so it's actually not going to be as intensive as first presumed.
That's right. He's going to put on pressure, but it's not like he's doing a big Speedling Roach all-in to open things up. He will have an economy to fall back on afterwards. Now, ForGG already has a lot of bio units out. He's already produced Marauders. He's going to be in prime position to shut this down. Aggression
hitting aggression here, and unfortunately for Stephano, that's going to work in one way, and that's going to be in favor of ForGG, because as soon as the Roaches make their way up there, they're going to be greeted by the Marines and a Marauder, with another one on the way very shortly here. And then, from there on out, there's almost no retreat path for Stephano. These Roaches do not have speed. They're very, very slow, but that's going to help out actually for Stephano. He's going to have a bit of a heads up on what's going on, and he's actually going to have to return back and get the hell out of there, because that's a nasty force to be reckoned with.
He loses a Roach, and he's heading back home at the moment. He is producing a few more defensive Roaches, because he's certainly going to need a couple to stay safe against this army.
Combat shields those seconds away from finishing. ForGG hunting for that third hatchery. If he brings that down, that will give him an advantage. He could go up here, though. It's taking a bit of a risk, not really knowing what's up there. There's a lot of Roaches and Lings on the way. How far and how much damage is ForGG going to get done?
Oh, he's already cleared up all the creep tumors, and at this stage of the game, that's so impressive. He takes down one Queen, going to get a couple of Roaches on the way out. Finally, there's enough here where Stephano knocks ForGG down the ramp, but the damage has been done. The creep will recede very quickly, and once he gets off the creep, he can hopefully get out of here, although Stephano's doing a nice job of chasing this force down.
Stephano should go and surround every single unit there. He's got a lot of Lings that could punish this movement here by ForGG.
And it looks like he will do just that. Gets a pretty good surround on all but one of the Marauders that allows the Roaches to catch up as well, and this Bioforce is done for.
Yeah, good start there for Stephano, pushing that back relatively easy. ForGG on the back foot just in case a counterattack was to happen. Stephano is droning behind this, though. He does have quite a lot of units, but with a complete wall off and a bunker behind, there's no way that Stephano could actually do anything. And with the layer coming down, the gases will be taken in that main base in a couple of seconds' time, and Stephano will move on to the second stage of that game, or this game. But unfortunately for ForGG, that was a relatively big investment early on that, you know, didn't really gain anything.
Yeah, it did stop the aggression, but of course he was sacrificing just as much economy, or not quite as much economy, but close as his opponent was doing to try and pull off the early aggression. So things are shaping up to be relatively, even just a little bit of a delay, so to speak, to start this game off.
And Stephano does have a couple of Lings on that third base, just waiting for ForGG to take a new expansion here. But with all the gases taken now, ForGG does have, as we can see, another engineering bay coming down, an armory coming as well, and Medivac soon to be out, as well as Stim and +1. So we will actually have a decent mid-game mobile army that he can move out with. He can always evacuate with Medivacs if things get a little bit hairy, and his key focus is going to be bringing down the creep spread off Stephano, keeping the pressure on Stephano. But there's going to be a certain limit to that. It's going to be the Infestation Pit. As soon as the Infestation Pit finishes, Pathogen Glands comes out, and Fungal Growth is available for Stephano, then everything and anything that ForGG tries will be absolutely shut down. So if he wants to be aggressive, it has to be actually now.
Well, Stephano is going, or I'm sorry, ForGG is going up to a third base at the moment, so we will be able to saturate these bases very quickly, make sure he can get over there and open up and start taking the map as far as his economy goes. No, obviously, Medivacs to back this up quite yet. The first two are on the way. He has a ton of Marines already out there with Pathogen Glands. These Infestors are going to follow pretty soon. We'll see if they get out there quick enough to be able to intercept this force.
Really nice spread of overlords on the map, actually, by Stephano, covering left-hand side and the right-hand side, seeing a lot of drop potential, but in the middle, we do have this push forward. The Infestors are still not out yet. We do have a lot of Lings, though, but the Banelings shouldn't really connect. Great target fire by ForGG.
Oh, but the last few Banelings do connect. He lands the first couple, but can't get the Medivacs there quick enough to pick his units up and make his way out. As we can see, he's lost almost double the resources of his opponent now, and Stephano is cruising ahead.
Yeah, and unfortunately for ForGG, losing that kind of army there means he can't take a third base for quite a long time. Stephano, knowing this, can easily go straight to Hive, which he's doing, can easily go and take a fourth base, take the Extractors on his third base, and really start to gun towards the later stages of the game. And as soon as ForGG does try to take the third base, Stephano can even pressure a little bit now that Pathogen Glands is done. The Infestors will be made in a couple of moments' time, and so far so good for EG Stephano.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. ForGG did have a very powerful force, but it just evaporated in the middle. He's investing back into his infrastructure. He's got siege technology on the way, so he will start working towards that critical late game composition. But already, Stephano's tech is in such a good place. We have Hive over halfway done before siege tech is even started, or before it's even a third of the way finished. So Stephano is in great position to continue keeping control of this game.
Stephano's going to go put that pressure onto that third base. I think the best time would be to wait until the Infestors Infestors get there maybe, because melee attack is not that far away, but he doesn't want to give the freedom of ForGG. It's a hard thing to balance. Do you go in now and try to do damage without having the superior upgrades, or do you wait and maybe give ForGG the chance to get tanks in siege mode in good position to prevent this from happening? And it looks like Stephano is checking out the unit count, and he's happy with what he sees.
We're still 5 seconds away from siege mode from finishing, and ForGG has to stim and run back completely. Already the Zerglings getting up the ramp surrounding all the forces, and Stephano is in such a dominating position here. The tanks are going to get caught before they're able to siege up. A lot of units have died in return, and economic damage is going to be done here momentarily.
And Stephano has 24 lings in production tab, 2 Infestors. He is rolling over ForGG at the moment. He is not even mining from his natural at the moment. The superior upgrades at this current point for ForGG will help, but with Stephano waypointing more and more units across here, the third base has to be evacuated. The Ultralisk Cavern is coming down before the third command center can even be used efficiently from ForGG, and this is not looking good at all for the Millennium player.
Yeah, this is just absolutely great for Stephano now. I mean, drop down at the bottom left-hand corner, but that gets cleaned up really efficiently. No real damage done, and ForGG trying to fly away at the moment. Stephano, he's just looking too good.
Yeah, he's looking really, really good. He's shut down every form of aggression that ForGG's tried here, and unfortunately for him, it's not looking that good at the moment. A big 40 supply difference, a big economy difference, a big upgrade, and even tech advantage. Every single advantage in this game right now is in favor of Stephano, with those upgrades kicking in. And, well, things are going to get a little bit rough here for the Korean.
ForGG is trying to adequately prepare for Ultralisk. He's got five Marauders being built at a time, multiple tanks up, as he does have 2 factories from which he's producing those. As we can see, he has 1 million tech labs down, and his infrastructure is quite good. He just didn't have the economy to take advantage of that. He's not reinvesting back into that either. No more SCVs being constructed. Can we see his worker count? There we go, finally 3 more workers at a time coming up, but he still has adequate SCV coverage with the amount of meals he has.
Ooh, Stephano, the merciful French guy, as he lets that medevac leave. 7 Marines. Could have killed everything there.
Knowing Stephano, he just would have said, I need to let him have it for him to have a chance.
Yeah, so that's probably what he's doing. But this time, not so merciful is Stephano, as he grabs the medevac. 3 infested Terrans will bring that down. 7 Marines will die a painful death. But look at this, ForGG's moving out. Stephano actually has a very strong force. Ultralisk already, but Stephano's going to go before I think he can.
Yeah, he catches this on siege, but then backs up, takes a few Zergling losses as he runs out. Didn't lose really any of his Banelings, though, but this is going to give ForGG position over at the Xel'Naga Tower. Here comes round 2 from Stephano, though, as he gathers up behind his Ultralisk. No, just playing back and defensive at the moment as he falls back to the secondary Xel'Naga Tower and starts morphing in more Banelings.
He doesn't want to risk it, because if he goes in and somehow does lose, then he loses his 4th base at the same time, because the distance from the Xel'Naga Tower of ForGG to Stephano's 4th base is so small that that could very well happen. But as these upgrades start to connect now, the plating is done for the Ultralisk. 3-3 is just 30 seconds away. Stephano may go before if he can find the perfect engagement, the perfect flank as well.
He's able to take out the first run of units pretty efficiently there, but the creep spread is going to start receding. So ForGG's done a nice job of that. But look at this flank that's being set up. A ton of Zerglings coming from the top as well. He's going to rush right up from the south at the same time, bundling out a lot of units, getting the Zerglings in there and trapping so much stuff here for ForGG. Does he have enough to battle back against this? He's already lost every one of his tanks. He's trying to reproduce whatever he can, but Stephano once again crushing his opponent there.
And unfortunately for ForGG, his upgrades were seconds away from finishing as well, and 7 more Ultras on the way. Stephano is going to take this first game, no doubt, right now, as he marches up the ramp of ForGG. May not be able to win the game now, but with 7 Ultras on the way, he is looking in great shape, in great form.
And ForGG loses the vast majority of his mining off to the right-hand side. The command center was lifted. It's sitting there, but absolutely no benefit received from that at all.
And here come the fueling reinforcements. But the real enforcements are going to be those 7 Ultralisks, which are just popping out, a bunch of Infestors as well. And another assault will be planned towards his 3rd base in just a couple of moments' time. Here they come marching, stomping their way across Ohana. It is a short map, it is a short distance for these Ultralisks to make their way there. And as they do, Millennium's ForGG is in trouble.
That's right. Stephano trying to take things here for the honor of EG and his country, of course. Ultralisk just ravaging his opponent's units. Doesn't even need the Infestor support right now just has enough sheer units, despite the good position from ForGG at the top of the ramp, that everything is still going to die. Oh, that was just an SEV slaughter there as ForGG falls underneath 60 supply, and that keeps going.
Yeah, Stephano throwing units at his opponent.
GG! And Stephano takes game number 1 here in very convincing style. ForGG tried to open up with some aggression at the beginning. No real surprise, intercepted the early roaches from Stephano. But after that, I had some units kind of thrown away in the middle of the map.
Yeah, I don't think that ForGG's style actually fits playing against Stephano that well, if you think about it. ForGG well known for his aggression, Stephano well known for his interception of the aggression. Yep. And putting those two together results into a game like we just saw, where every single approach by ForGG was shut down without a break of sweat by the Frenchman.
All right, and I believe you said that game number 2 is going to be played out on Metropolis, correct?
That's right.
Okay, so certainly a very interesting map. We've seen some very, very long TVCs here over the course of this tournament, but obviously we're going to see something different from these players. Do you think ForGG is going to continue to be aggressive, do something maybe like we saw the STC try?
I don't know. On a map like Metropolis, it's very big, actually, so pulling off these form of aggression is not really going to work that well. On a map of this size, it gives Stephano a great reaction time. I don't really know what ForGG can do to try to change his approach to this game. Maybe play a little bit more standardized, maybe very macro-focused, but at the same time, Stephano, like we said earlier, is not afraid to use these roach attacks early on, not afraid to use roach bailing attacks. So, you know, there's the balance between going for greed, going for aggression. One man knows what to do, and that's got to be ForGG.
All right, and like we said, there's quite a bit on the line here. The winner of this set will move into the semifinals. The loser will be eliminated. Quantic, the STC, is waiting, of course, in the semifinals, already having gained himself at least 20,000 Swedish krona and 20 points in the DreamHack circuit. So we're coming down to the wire. This tournament is very quickly coming to a close.
And there is Stephano, just watching the end of that replay by the looks of it, as he did decline his invitation to the game lobby, but will be joining us momentarily. A very one-sided game, to be honest there. Nothing worked for ForGG in there, and we already know the opponent or future opponent of one of these two players going to be the Quantic STC is his old friend from Brood War. Both of them used to play Brood War, of course, ForGG and his friend STC. STC used to play for STX Seoul back in the day.
Yeah, and don't forget, after this match, whenever this is done, or about half hour from now, we are going to have Liquidtasia versus Quantic Sase, so another Quantic player going up in the first of our Liquid players that are still remaining, so very awesome PVT. And then finally, we still have that guy Targa hanging around. He's going to try his might in metal, test his metal against Liquid Hero.
And there is the STC going into the semifinal alongside friend Violet. And those two guys having a great run here, and a round of applause there for the STC.
That's
and
right.
He will be playing a little bit later on in the first semi-final of the day, of course. And, well, things are almost ready now. Stephano just almost ready to begin this next game, taking a couple of seconds, as he does.
So let's see what the crowd thinks then. Who out there thinks that Stephano is going to close this set out right now? All right, we got some cheers there. Who thinks that ForGG is going to come back and tie things up? A few less cheers. Looks like people think that Stephano is going to advance, but certainly a popular player pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, the one person that has to have full confidence in that last question you asked is going to be ForGG. He has to believe that he can beat Stephano. He said in the interview before the game even started that he felt that he was the better player. Well, now it's the time to show it. There's no messing around. If he drops the next map, he will fall in the round of 8 against Stephano. The map is now loading, and we are ready to get into the next game live from DreamHack Valencia. We are having a lot of fun here. I hope you guys are as well, from home and of course inside the arena as we load into the next map.
That's right. So we're going to get things started here on Metropolis, Cloud Kingdom, the potential third map at the end here, and we'll see what these guys can offer here as we move into our second map.
Yeah, we are now loading in.
Trolling the camera off to the side there a bit.
Gotta love the trolling as we now are into the game.
That's right, and here at the 9 o'clock position on Metropolis, we have our red Terran player from Millennium. It is ForGG. There's a few more of his fans, but at the 12 o'clock position, up 1-0 in the set, our blue Zerg player from the team Evil Geniuses, it is Stephano.
And after this series has been completed, we will be going over to Team Liquid Stars. Tasia and Hero will be playing later on, as we now do go back into the game. Metropolis, a very big map. They've spawned close by air here, and this is very difficult for Stephano to get scouting information. Even though that sounds a little bit counterintuitive, being that Stephano has ease of access through Overlords to get close to the base, it's even easier for ForGG to say, all right, this is where they're coming from. There's no other angle. There's no way Stephano can approach the main base of ForGG from a different angle. Therefore, the Marine focus is in one place, which means it's very difficult to actually get good information on what's going on.
Okay, well, ForGG decided to open up with a command center first into 3 racks last go around in order to produce a few bio units to put on pressure. He intercepted the roach play from Stephano, but never really found anything afterwards. So we'll see if he has a different strategy in mind, or if he's going to play a little bit more passively. Although, I don't know, that just doesn't sound right in my mouth. ForGG and passively doesn't work.
He's never been like that. Even in his Brood War days, he was very focused on timings, on aggression, and basically harassment to finish off with timings is kind of the best way to describe ForGG. And we do see the command center first coming down a big map. Makes sense. Stephano likewise just going up to 16 supply already. Getting in an extra drone, realizing that the liability of actually losing and so on to 2 racks is actually pretty low here.
And ForGG decides to gas immediately after the command center, not putting down a barracks quite yet. That'll follow here momentarily, but he is going to have great gas income to start this game. He'll have enough gas to immediately start a factory whenever that barracks is done. Stephano
does take a very early gas, Vespian guys, extractor, sorry, out of BC as he underlines it for me. Extractor. So with a very early extractor here, we could see a roach opening, especially because the timing of that extractor going down was as soon as Stephano saw the command center on the low ground, so very well could happen. But on the other hand of things, if you look at ForGG and what he's doing, he actually went for a pretty damn early refinery here. Refinery before barracks, so his build was command center into refinery into a barracks, so he's going to have a relatively fast factory timing likewise.
That's right, and the factory can come down right now, and if he decides to start an add-on very quickly on this barracks, he's going to have hardly any Marines out there to defend if some sort of a speeding attack were to happen.
All right, well, let's find out what Stephano's going to do with this gas. Is he going to be building a Roach Warren? Is he just going to go for speed? There is the Roach Warren. Stephano's going to be aiming between 8 to 10 Roaches. He will look to pull down as many SCVs as he can because he knows it's command center first. He knows that the lack of defense, about the lack of defense. But with the faster refinery, with the faster factory, and the faster barracks and reactor, he's actually going to have Hellions out a lot earlier than you would usually see from a command center first opening.
That's absolutely right, but Stephano is going to be bearing down with a bunch of very strong units with almost no counter to them from ForGG. Obviously not going to have a tech lab down quite yet on the barracks. He'll have to switch over and build one here in just a bit. And look at this, ForGG going right up into Banshees. Now, that's no real surprise, of course, going after a command center first, seeing reactored Hellions into Banshees, that's pretty standard stuff. But the way he's gone about it, the way he has almost no units on the field is a little bit disconcerting.
And even the units he will have on the field are going to be Hellions, which tickle Roaches. I mean, they just don't do enough damage fast enough before the Roaches pull down all the SCVs. And we have 9 Roaches in total being made. Are we going to see the switch up from the start? But we should do, because if you think about it, ForGG knows nothing about what's going on. All he knows is that this is a big map.
Yes, that's true. He's not done any scouting whatsoever. This is now the farthest out that he's seen, and he is going to get there just in time to intercept a bunch of Roaches.
And these Roaches are going to just do so much damage here. The Banshee is being made as fast as possible. The Banshee has great DPS against the Roaches. Drones are coming behind, but actually Stephano decides to build 6 links to kind of accompany these Roaches. But let's see if Stephano can get the damage done. Great decision to evacuate the natural. He knows that he's in trouble.
Yes, he does. And let's see here if he can get these Banshees in play quick enough. Already 1 SCV. 2 SCVs have fallen. Stephano starting to break his way through. He's going to go right after this tech lab so no Marauders can be constructed. Will one get started for ForGG? No, it does not. No Marauders whatsoever. The Banshee is just about to pop up, but already a lot of SCVs have died.
The Banshee is so late through coming out, and the SCVs are just falling one by one. Stephano's killed 18 already, and it is only the 17-minute mark, I mean the 7-minute mark in this game, and it looks like the Roaches will finally be cleaned up, but not without taking a few more down with them.
That's right, and Stephano doesn't care about losing those attack units. You want to do as much economic damage as possible. His opponent is down to 10 SCVs. Yes, with meals, he's going to have decent mineral income, but still, that is a staggering amount of economic damage already done.
Stephano trying to wall off as fast as possible because the Hellions are racing across the map to try and get to the economy of Stephano. He's also building roaches, 4 roaches. Is he going to be able to hold on against these Hellions? Remember, there's a Banshee in the mix as well.
Those roaches pop out at just the right time. Looks like he's not going to be able to save the first queen, but he does knock that Banshee down to quite a low health, about halfway. The Hellions trying to work their way through this this evolution chamber that's up at the front, but it accumulates hit points so quickly that it's almost impossible for ForGG to make his way through there.
And the Banshee gets pushed away, and Stephano even deflects the counter-attack without a problem. 60 supply to 42, 12 SCVs to 44. He basically has 3 times the income of Stephano at the moment, the 4GG, and this is not looking good for the Korean, for the Millennium player.
Not at all. 4 Overlords being produced at the same time now, as Stephano needs to be able to clear up a little bit of supply so he can continue producing just stuff. He has enough to put down another hatchery here in a bit, but he doesn't feel secure enough because there are still 13 Hellions and Cloak Banshees out on the map, and it's going to be difficult for him to establish and hold on to a third at this point.
Stephano doesn't actually have that much to defend. There's only 4 roaches, and there's a lot of Hellions here. He actually has gone all the way up to 53 drones. He may have overstepped his mark a little bit, but we do have a few Lings making their way into the SCV line. Queen's going to go down in the main base as well.
That's right, and ForGG is doing some pretty significant damage. 2 more Queens starting to follow this up, and they should be able to take down these Banshees. Yes, looks like they are going to successfully do that, but all of the Hellions have gone back home. I'm not sure why. There was no Lings around. They were all cleared up by the existing Hellions that were inside of his main.
I don't know why the Hellions went home. They could have gone into the drone line. The roaches went into the main base to help out, and now the Hellions go back out again. Oh, this is really sloppy play from ForGG. There was so many Hellions, but this has given Stephano enough time now to create that wall off again. He needs to start getting the Queens out, or at least try to get an Overseer as soon as this layer is ready, because these Banshees will break the roach wall, and the flood of the Hellions are going to make their way in.
And a nice job to start DPSing down both the Queens and also that Spine Crawler at the front. There's enough Hellions here that they can start running through roaches. That's not going to be a problem at all. And now all of these drones are just up for grabs.
And Stephano is caught in a bit of a difficult position right now. Queens are popping up, but there's still no anti-air. The Banshees with Cloak doing so much. The Queens are falling left and right. Roaches are coming out, but has ForGG actually come back from 12 SCVs?
And it looks like he may be able to do just that. He's still at half the workers of his opponent, but there's just no defense here whatsoever. It's a nice job by Stephano to pull back towards the Spore Crawlers to get some vision with these Banshees, but the Hellions are still alive, and they're still doing a ton of damage.
On these Banshees, there's even a 3rd Banshee, and the drones in the main base are going to go down as well. ForGG fighting from behind for the entire of this game, and all the drones are falling down. There's only 26 remaining, and he was double that a few minutes ago.
Unbelievable performance here from ForGG, and he could have done this a while ago as well, but he took the Hellions back home, but now the damage is being done, and now it's being done perfectly. Stephano down to just 30 supply.
Oh, Stephano's botched this secondary wave of attack here, and ForGG is looking in great shape. 51, 53 SCVs, and it continues to grow as ForGG's roasting every single one.
Are you kidding me? He's killed so many workers. A terrible game to be a worker. He was down to just 3 drones a second ago, and these Banshees just continue to DPS down so much. There's the well played, and ForGG has made his way back in time to set up against Stephano.
Wow, going down to 12 SCVs against 53. A 40 drone to SCV difference, but ForGG manages to keep in the game, keep in the series, and he keeps his tournament dreams alive here in Valencia.
Wow, unbelievable performance, and we are headed to game number 3. A very strange couple of games we've had so far, but I wouldn't have expected anything else from these 2 guys.
Oh, that was pretty bad by Stephano. Just very unfortunate for Stephano. He was in a great lead, looked like he was going to swat ForGG out of the tournament without a single a bit of work that he really needed to do in that series, but ForGG fights back, and we are going to the final map. If I'm not mistaken, it is going to be Cloud Kingdom.
Cloud Kingdom it is, and we've already seen some very exciting TVZs played out here, even just in the last set between the STC and Vortex. So would expect to see nothing but an awesome game between these 2 guys, but I don't know, man. I don't know what to expect from these guys now. Obviously we've seen such 2 crazy games, and I don't know.
Mistakes happen. Stephano dropping that game, absolutely a mistake there. He should have never dropped that game, and ForGG is back in with the running. But going over to Cloud Kingdom now, it is a little bit more difficult to predict how this is going to go out. I doubt Stephano is going to try. Oh, I mean, he could. I mean, it's really difficult to say. Is he going to try an early Roach push? Is he not? Is he going to go Roach Baneling? Is he not? At the same time, what is ForGG going to do? He is an aggressive Terran player. And usually, especially against Stephano, it usually comes down to how greedy can the Terran player be and get away with it. But it's now actually the tables get turned a little bit through the aggression that ForGG is so well known for using.
And the countdown has started, so we're going to jump into this game here in just a second. And the 3-base Banshee style is so popular here. There is a potential for Roaches to be used once again for Stephano, but you know, he's tried it twice. He's had some success. The last game, he did kill a lot of workers, but he just didn't prepare for the follow-up from ForGG at all.
All right, so we are now loading into this last map. The last map between these two guys. The winner moves on to the semifinals. The loser goes home.
And here we are in the top right-hand corner of Cloud Kingdom. We have our red Terran player tying things up in the last set. It is Millennium ForGG. And his opponent in the lower left-hand corner, our blue Zerg player from Evil Geniuses, trying to bring things back in his favor. It is Stephano.
Stephano's traveled the globe, winning StarCraft 2 tournaments all over the place. And he's here in Valencia, in Spain, looking to get another one. And his first DreamHack win. He has not won a tournament at DreamHack before. Is it going to be today? ForGG is standing in his way.
That's right, and what a great comeback from ForGG in that last game as well. Just had the perfect units to deal at all times. The positioning on the Banshees was just perfect. He melted down the Spine Crawler at the front that allowed the Hellions to start running through, but from there on out, he was always operating just outside of the range of the Spore Crawlers and picking off Queens one by one. Just a great handling of those units there.
I mean, Stephano actually did watch the replay really fast there, and all he will analyze from that is saying, well, you know, I made a mistake. I overdroned a little bit too much. I didn't prepare against what was coming. Well, he did prepare a little bit, but not to the same extent of the damage that was coming his way. And unfortunately does drop that. But the series is tied up, and that is great for everybody. Going to a game 3, and it already looks like we are going to see a command center first, but Stephano's got a drone out there nice and early on, and he's going to be a bit of a nuisance.
Yes, he is. And this is the third game in a row, of course, that ForGG has tried to place this down. With 2 SUVs here, he will be able to drive away this drone pretty quickly. He's actually dealt with that pretty efficiently. And he does manage to get down the command center.
Yeah, he delays it by about 40 minerals or so, a couple of seconds there, but every little bit helps. Even going to do a little bit of tickling damage to that SCV while maintaining the drone hit points a little bit more than the last hit. But again, we see the refinery coming down first here. So we are going to see ForGG going refinery into barracks, going straight for a factory, going straight for those Hellions to start to defend, start to scout, and start to maybe even put the pressure onto Stephano.
And of course, Stephano doesn't have a clue of this quite yet. As we just saw, he got in there with the initial scout, didn't see any gas, didn't see anything terribly out of the ordinary, knows its command center first. So will Stephano go for the same Roach play that he has been so far? Is he going to fall back and drop down those gases pretty quickly once again? He's not done so quite yet, and you know, normally at this stage you would think that it points towards some sort of a 4-queen build, but we said that in game number 1 as well, and he immediately dropped down 2 gas on a Roach Warren.
Yeah, I mean, his extractor is actually, compared to the last game, a lot later here, so we're not going to be seeing any form of Roach play early on. He still could go for a Roach Baneling attack in the mid stages, but you know, it's still to be developed here by Stephano. But the most likelihood of how this is going to play out is going to be roughly 4 queens. 6 queens has been moving out of fashion a little bit, and one of the big reasons why is because of the game we saw with Vortex early on. With 6 queens, you actually delay the 2 gases by so much, and with delaying the gases, delays your speed, delays your actual real defense. Queens are good, but in some circumstances, you just want to have Zergling speed instead.
And we've been seeing a hybrid of that occasionally as well, where players will go 4 queens, open up to a 3rd base, take double gas, and then build a 5th queen behind it to defend against Banshees as well. So there are things that have been used that are similar or that are kind of a combination, but now we can see just a normal 4-queen build popping out for Stephano, still no gas taken.
Stephano just looking forward. He wants to know what's going on again. He wants to know if there's a fast factory, and he's going to be able to get that information. He sees the factory timing, he realizes that's pretty damn early on, and he's going to go, oh, he doesn't actually go further, does see, well, he tried to check out if the reactor was building on that barracks. He actually didn't, so, but he could pretty much know what's going on again, especially with watching that replay last time. He would have realized the refinery was down first, and it's not something you see that often, to get the factory out a little bit faster, but now Stephano has full information on what is going to come at him.
Yeah, he has full information, and he's going with a pretty normal build here. 2 gas coming up, so he makes sure that he can get that Zergling speed up and running. Has the Queens out to continue creep spread as well. ForGG, it's going to be on him to try and get something done here in a bit. If everything goes according to plan, he'll have a 3rd base up here momentarily. He's already swapping away the barracks with the tech lab on it, so we can drop down the starboard.
Yeah, I mean, the standard play or macro focus play would be to throw down a 3rd command center, but it's ForGG, so I wouldn't put it past him to throw down anything after going up for this Hellion and then into Cloak Banshees. But we do see double gases come down, 4 in total for Stephano, maybe gunning straight up to go for a double evolution chamber and layer into Spire build here. Mutalisks and Lings on the ground. We'll see what's going to happen, but we do have the Hellions making their way through, seeing no 3rd base initially.
That's right. So here come the Hellions now. There are a couple of Queens out to help defend against this, and looks like the evolution chambers being built to the front, kind of in a clever space, not just a true wall, but also blocking off a back path to run around the side there. So maybe providing a little bit additional defense, but ForGG is going to run right on through. He gets directly into the natural, only picks off 1 worker for now, but with 6 Queens there, Stephano is able to deal with a few of these Hellions very quickly.
Couple more do go down, 3 in total so far, hurting every single worker that Stephano has. But as you said, with 6 Queens, this won't really last too much longer. And ForGG trying to get around. Is he going to get any more drones? Oh, he's playing a little bit of 1-2, trying to move around. It is trying to squeeze through, but these Queens a little bit too hard to slow them down.
There are still 2 more Hellions inside of the natural, though, and they've killed 3 more workers. Now 4 more workers. That continues to increase, so ForGG has been pretty effective with these. He's killed 8 workers in total. Of course, he has lost a lot of resources in these Hellions, but it was well worth it for 10 worker kills.
Oh, and there's a lot of loss in mining time as well. So Stephano's actually taken a lot of damage already in this game. And are we going to see ForGG upset Stephano in this game? Another drone goes down, a total of 12 with the Banshee here.
There's no spore crawlers. There's no spore crawlers at all. There's 1 trying to come in right now, but already this has done quite a bit of damage. 4 kills, those are all workers, and he is going to nab a few more. He's killed 16 workers already in this game.
Oh my god, and this is really, really close now because right now the Hellions and Banshees continue to do damage. We see the Banshee going in. There's even Lings running across the map at the moment. How many in total? 12 drones have gone down. Stephano's still equal, but that's because he's been building consistent amounts of drones. But that was a very, very solid start here for ForGG. And like I expected, no 3rd command center, more and more barracks. He is powering away through. Stim is almost done. The infestation pit is coming down for Stephano, but this is going to be a rocky ride going into the mid stages of this game with that infrastructure set up by ForGG.
And he was a little bit shaken up as well. He became supply blocked. He had to invest in a few structures and upgrades. Now finally putting up a bunch of overlords. He actually made 4 at the same time. Even though these Banshees are revealed, they can still DPS down 1 pretty quick. Oh, nice transfusion though, and he does manage to keep the Queen alive.
Stephano staying quite stable though, even though he's taken a lot of damage in this game. He's still at 50 drones. The one thing that we don't see is a 3rd base. A 3rd base has to come down for Stephano really, really soon. Otherwise, a 3rd command center will be made right now as we see, and it will be put down on that low ground, and he will have a better economy, even though he has a stronger army and stronger infrastructure. So ForGG just building up many different advantages in this game. The Roach Warren coming down, still no 3rd base taken for Stephano. He really needs to get that done, and with the creep spread extending towards that 3rd base, he can now take it.
All right, well, we'll see if he can manage to take it here in just a second. Yeah, there is the Shadow of 1, so a drone is on its way. But already, this is such a good position for ForGG. We mentioned that his tech is in place. He's got tanks rolling. He's got plenty of bio units starting to hit the field as well. And with these 3 Banshees, he can just continue to DPS down Queens very quickly. Stephano does have enough energy with the fact that he did produce 6 Queens right at the very beginning, though, to continue to transfuse those up for a while.
And a lot of Hellions making their way around the right-hand side. There was a Changeling that did spot them just about. 4 Infestors are going to pop. Are they going to pop in time to defend against these Hellions? There's nothing on the natural or on the 3rd base yet. Oh, the Cloak Banshees are in there as well. Very
nice job transfusing up those Queens one after another. The positioning on the Hellions was pretty good, though, and a lot of Lings did get roasted. So even with Stephano keeping 2 of those alive, oh, he does manage to fungal out the Banshee, though, and a couple of the Hellions as well. Cleans that up and cycles in the Zerglings behind to continue to push away those Hellions.
Really good strategical decision by Stephano to go for Pathogen Glands and Infestors over 2-2. The difference, if you think about it, would have just been Lings and Queens, and he would have lost to the follow-up. But by going for those infestors, he was able to prevent the follow-up aggression and will continue to bank energy with those infestors to prevent anything like this, like the Marines making their way across. But with 4 reactors or 5 reactors now placed on barracks, he's actually going to be building 10 Marines, 9 Marines at a single time.
And even though Stephano did go for later upgrades, they're still quite good. He's going to have 2-2 very quickly. He's going to have a well-developed tech as well, but he is still pretty far behind on bases. He's just now getting his 3rd up and running. Hive tech is on the way, but he hasn't really received much benefit from this 3rd base at all. And as we can see there, Adebisi pointing out, he is down by 6 workers.
Yeah, down by 6 workers, is trying to catch up in terms of tech, does have 2-2 on the way, with the Ultraviolet Cavern will immediately follow this Great Aspire here, and he's going to try to play a bit of a surprise tactic like we saw Vortex do a little bit earlier on. But Stephano really needs to drone towards that 3rd base and start to look for a 4th base. Decent creep spread going up the left-hand side, but look at that. Look at the amount of barracks coming down. So many barracks, a couple with tech labs on, so they're going to have Marauders in the composition already, expecting the just simplistic Ultralist switch.
Yeah, but I mean, ForGG has massive production right now, and his economy has been very, very good the entire game. He's up to almost 70 SCVs now. He's producing mules off of 3 orbital commands. Stephano trying to take a 4th base off to the side. Has very good creep spread as well, making sure that if he forces an engagement, it will be on his terms and he'll have the best possible engagement to give himself. But still, things are looking pretty bleak. He really has to find a good engagement to get his way back in this.
Yeah, Stephano does have an upgrade lead and a tech lead now, with the Ultraviolet Cavern coming down in the main base or on the natural, sorry, I'm not too sure where that is. But right now, I love the direction of creep that Stephano's spreading. It's all on the left-hand side. He's not going to, basically he's neglecting the fact that Terran players love to march down the right-hand side. They love to march towards the 4th base, what could potentially be there. But with creep on the left-hand side, he's going to actually start to spread creep on the 4th base of ForGG to prevent him from taking that, while having creep spread all around his 4th base on the left-hand side. Even though that base is going to be taken on the right-hand side, Stephano won't have that full interest, and it's more so about that left one.
I mean, the first time we saw this really effectively used like this was actually J-Dong during the Kespa Invitational, that MLG was able to outright deny his opponent's bases for quite a while with pure creep spread. Now, of course, ForGG picks up on this base on the left-hand side, deciding whether or not to drop his Marines down right there. Stephano sending back some links, though, and he should be able to take this out. But at the same time, ForGG is buying himself time to get position on the units off to the right.
And Stephano knows he's in trouble at the moment because this push is coming. It's only a 1-1 upgrade, so it's not as strong as it could be. And Bailey's are being morphed in. Stephano's going to give up this base, and that's why he took a base on the left-hand side, because he knew something like that could happen. There is a medevac on the left-hand side waiting to drop on that natural. Stephano is building 3 Ultralists, centrifugal hooks. The bailing speed is not ready yet. He desperately needs it. This is a very close moment. Remember, this is the final game. The winner of this moves on, and ForGG is deep on creep at the moment.
He is max, but Stephano's going for it. He's cycling from around the side as well. He will be able to get very close to some of the siege tanks. 2 of them going down, but there's still 4 tanks remaining despite the good fungal growth. That's a lot of units left over for ForGG.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and he continues to run it with tons of reinforcements. As we can see, an additional 2 tanks rolling from the back. Plenty of Marauders there to combat the eventual Ultralists that are just about to pop up. ForGG's position looks so good.
Yeah, and 2-2 is going to finish about the same time as these Ultralists, so that's going to help the Marauders so much here. Stephano's going to evacuate the 3rd base. Needs to get mining on that left-hand side. Stephano's in a big amount of trouble at the moment. 4 Ultralists on the way. 3-3 is on the way for Stephano. If somehow he can survive to get 3-3 over the 2-2 of his opponent's upgrades, maybe he can still stay in this game. But ForGG is commanding this at the moment. Through that early aggression, he's maintained his advantage going into this stage of the game. He knows Stephano has another base over there as well.
And he's just tightening his grip again and again with beautiful positioning, with slowly moving up his tanks. He kept a few tanks sieged up at the back so he can continue to leapfrog those forward and start to put pressure on the natural as well. And this creep threat was very good, but Stephano didn't do that last little line of
He's setting up a flank. He's setting up the flank. This is going to be it. Stephano's going to try and pinch this right here, right now.
And he's got to break it. He's got to break it quick. He does get in on 2 tanks onto the right-hand side very quickly, starting to make his way off to the left as well. He gets a pretty good engagement here. A lot of Bailings do connect, and it looks like he's going to be able to clean up this force.
The perfect engagement there by Stephano, doing a maximum amount of damage with very little units. And now the pressure maintains inside the base. Stephano is going to clean it out of his main base, and he remains with a 350 supply versus ForGG. The thing is, though, that ForGG was able to get a planetary fortress down underneath the creep, and that really hurts. If Stephano could break down that planetary fortress, that would help out so much to really slow down the economy of ForGG. But right now, ForGG pressuring again. Bailey's being moved. The Ultra is almost fully upgraded. The plating almost done, and he has got that upgrade advantage over ForGG. 3-3-2 in the production tab for him. Stephano has a stronger army, though better quality units.
But he's down 2 bases at the moment, and ForGG's economy has just not been disrupted this entire game. So Stephano trying to rally his way back, trying to win yet another perfect engagement, but he hasn't been able to strike at his opponent's economy.
And he only has 2 infestors with this army, only 2 fungals available. They have to be the sickest fungals in the world if Stephano wants to win this game. Another perfect engagement could very well do that despite being 20 supply behind.
Yeah, and Stephano's re-expanding to not just his 3rd, but also his 4th. So he's trying to take 2 bases. He knows he has a very strong army, but all the while he's sitting back, and ForGG has re-accumulated a maxed army off of a massive amount of siege tanks and marauders.
Oh, Stephano's going to send in a borrowed infestor here, but there's a turret about to finish up on that 4th base. In the meanwhile, there is a drop coming. This could work out not so good for Stephano. He sees the army movement. The turret's going to finish, so that will be revealed. This could be the perfect time for Stephano to go in while the tanks are unsieged.
But he can't make it there quite yet. The scan goes forward to pick off more creep tumors, and Stephano actually getting caught out a little bit as a few units did go down, trying to cycle over a few Ultralisks to be able to pick up on that drop, but it buys time for ForGG to make his way right up the gut and start putting pressure on Stephano's base at the 9 o'clock position.
And that infestor did die within the army. Stephano's going to lose another base. ForGG has brought down another of these expansions with great position. The Ultras can't even get in there. Our 4 Marines going to bring down an Ultralisk.
And it's blocking the Zerglings from getting in as well, so the Ultralisk on just 12 hit points will survive, but still lost so much health just sitting there. ForGG once again almost max, and he's continuing to put pressure on. He denies all the gas over at that 5th base. He himself is expanding to a 6th, taking the top left-hand corner and splitting the map in half.
The timing for Stephano is now depleting. Look at the upgrades. They are so close to finishing. ForGG has a base on the right-hand side. He has one in the top left as well. And if he is able to keep these bases alive with equal sets of upgrades, then ForGG is going to be moving on to the next round. And Stephano has to move soon because time is running out.
An 8 Marauder drop with 3-3 upgrades can just decimate buildings as well. And as we see, ForGG's making his way around the right-hand side, trying to drop behind this 4th base. Stephano did get ready with a bunch of banelings in the middle of the map, but is he ready for this? He's going to be pulled out of position. That may buy time for ForGG. Yeah, he's already moving up, using this drop as a way to get a bit more farther forward here outside of the natural.
ForGG is playing amazing right now. His 3-3 upgrades is completed. He's got an amazing position. Look at the tanks line. That's going to be so hard for Stephano to engage efficiently here, and Stephano's going to try. This is it. This is going to be the last engagement.
And here he goes. He comes in with Zerglings from both sides. They buffer a few of the shots. The Baneling's able to take out the siege tanks with the last of the Ultralisks as well, and Stephano does clean up the vast majority of that army, but he's still being dropped off to the side. He needs to get over there and stop that. He has not lost another base here, but he is close to doing so if he can't react in time.
Stephano's playing over 500 APM at the moment, an incredibly fast speed right now, but the problem still remains. The expansions are alive for ForGG, who is remaking that army faster than ever before, faster than any Terran player has done so against Stephano in a very long time. And ForGG is doing it. He is on fire at the moment.
And it's 39 workers to 76 as we see double the worker count now for ForGG. So the army supply is actually relatively equivalent between these two players. But of course, Stephano just doesn't have the income he needs to continue buffering this this count of units. Only 2 infestors. They're sitting here right in the middle of the map, waiting to be able to maybe drop some fungals or infested Terrans behind. But the bulk of his army are these 13 Ultralisks and 57 Lings.
Stephano follows that army with 2 infestors. He's going to go before they siege up. The infested Terrans go down and the engagement begins.
That's right, and he draws a lot of the fire from the siege tanks. It allows the Ultralisks to get into position, but is this going to be enough? As soon as units go down for ForGG, he's immediately remaking them. His production is just so good with the available bank of resources.
Good God, there's just so many Ultralisks. They're going to bring these structures down incredibly fast, and ForGG needs to try to keep these bases alive. He knows the importance of them, and it does fall.
The planetary fortress falls, and the infestor comes in from the side as well and lands a fungal growth that allows the Ultralisks to move up and crush the first part of that army. But look at the difference in these two players. ForGG still has 2 great mining bases off to the left-hand side in the top left-hand corner, over at his 4th as well, and Stephano just needs income, any sort of income to stay alive.
There are 14 medivacs out there for ForGG. Every single stim instantly back to full health. Just so much healing available available. And is ForGG going to be slaying a giant here today in Valencia? It is very close between these two guys, as Stephano is about to find out about another expansion, kills off a bunch of SCVs, and now sees the future, and it is not looking good.
It is another powerful planetary fortress, and his own fourth is going to go down again. That 4 Marauder drop was enough to be able to deny this, and that is just devastating for Stephano. The bulk of his mining was at his third because he is on so few workers at the moment, but still, he needs every ounce of mining he can get.
He does, and Stephano cleans up a few units now, but look at the army. The army marches through the center of the map, and that is an incredibly strong army. So many Marauders here. Stephano has to have another beautiful engagement. 10 Ultras are out there with an 11-1 being made. A cancellation on that expansion does go down, but ForGG is closing in.
Once again, just tightening that grip as he moves up into the natural again. He's setting up in that perfect position. He has so many units reinforcing as well. Stephano trying to engage this, but he lands a couple of fungal growths, but look how many Marauders there are. Even with the tanks being surrounded at the back, does Stephano have enough? No, he can't make his way up the ramp. He's lost his natural, and he's losing all of the tech inside of his main.
ForGG is about to do it. He's broken the natural. There's too many medivacs, too many Marauders. Is he going to be able to slay one of the best non-Koreans in StarCraft 2? ForGG is a breach the main base, and everything is going to force Stephano has to come back to defend, but he's going to take an unfavorable engagement. Look at that beautiful spread of units.
And you see the effect of all the fungal is completely negated. There's the well played. Stephano is out of the tournament. ForGG advances to play Quantic the STC in the semifinals.
Wow, ForGG just played a beautiful series from the start to the end, coming back in game number 2 to play a beautiful game number 3. That level of harassment that we saw in the early game gave him such an advantage. So as he makes his way out here, please make some noise for ForGG as he comes onto the stage.